Hey guys, today we are up a place called Tub Run. It's this little national forest road, goes up in the mountains. It follows this creek behind me. The creek is called Tub Run, of course. My goal today is to find where this creek starts at. So all I'm doing is following the creek, and I'm going to figure out where it begins, where it comes out of the mountain, or whatever it starts as. Unfortunately, the gate to this road to drive is locked right now. So I'm riding my bike to the place where the creek and the road veer off so I can follow the creek the rest of the way and hopefully have enough time to find where it begins. So that's the goal. We're gonna see what happens and hopefully we find it. So here we go. Alrighty, so we are to the point where the road and the creek take different paths. The road is up there. It starts going up and goes over the ridge, and the creek stays, of course, on this side of the ridge. So here's where we leave the bike and we follow the creek. So let's go see where it ends up. There are fishies. They're small, very small. They're like the size of my thumb. But hey, there are still fishies. Unfortunately, sometimes it's going to be easier to cross the creek than it is to walk on the bank. So I found a place to cross. Here we go. Alrighty, here's where we're going to be crossing at. Let's see how it goes. Luckily my boots are waterproof, so I can get a little wet. Alrighty, we made it. Okay, so there is an obvious divide in the creek, or fork, I guess would be the proper term. One is a lot smaller than the other, so I'm going to follow the bigger one. Yeah, but we're getting close. We're starting to hit up a holler, so we'll see how much longer we got. I'm definitely on the wrong side of the creek. Found a place to cross to go over because my side is straight up, the other side is flat. Whoops! As I was walking, I just scared a deer. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to film it before it ran up the ridge, but I wasn't expecting to see anything out here. Okay, we're going to take a small break here at this small waterfall, I guess you could call it. Just relax, listen to the water, breathe. Break. Yeah, I'm tired. Well, I came to another fork. I think the left one has a little more flow than the right, so I'm going to follow it. So I found a spot where you would think it begins, but because you have water in a puddle, then above it the creek bed is dry. But if you walk up 50 feet with that, there's another wet spot, and if you keep going, there's actually some flow too. So it is not where it begins. There's definitely a spring back there, but that's not the beginning. So we're gonna keep going and find where it does start. So here's a good example of where you would think it would start, but up ahead a little ways, there's water flowing too. So it's starting to flow underground through little passages, I guess. So it's getting a little tricky to find where exactly it's starting at. Okay, so I was trying to figure out why I'm so winded right now, other than the fact that I'm out of shape. I mean, this is one of the first nice weekends, if not the first nice weekend of spring, actually. Anyways, when you're looking straight ahead as you walk, it looks semi-flat. I mean, it goes up a little bit, but not much. When you turn around, it's actually a good incline. So I don't feel as bad. I was trying to figure out why I was getting so winded when I wasn't this bad when I first started off, but it makes sense now. I'm just going up the mountain. Right here is the last place I can find flowing water. Going up this small valley. Here's a better view of it, since it actually comes out of the ground. Now you gotta remember, this is really small. That's my finger. So, it's not a big spring at all. But as it goes, more and more of these pop out and they all come together. That means that this little flow right here is the very beginning of Tub Run. From here, it goes all the way down the mountain into the valley, and then flows down this valley into Johns Creek, where by the time it enters there, it's about 5 feet wide, maybe 6 inches deep. So I mean, it's not a big creek by any means, but the fact that this is the little trickle that it begins at is kind of cool. So there you go. So I think the spot behind me is a major contributor to Tub Run. Obviously I found water above it, so it's not where it truly begins, but there is actually flowing water in a small creek form from this point on. So unfortunately there is a tree that fell on top of it, so it's kind of hard to actually see, but there's a big oak tree that grows out and stretches, and then underneath its roots on is a creek. So this is definitely a big part of it. It still amazes me that a little spring that is smaller than one of my fingers, about the size of my fingernail actually, is able to turn into a creek. I mean, I know there's a lot more springs and stuff that feed into it, but I mean, it's just crazy to think like that. Something so small turns into something so big. Because technically, that spring that we saw flows down this creek into Johns Creek. From Johns Creek, it flows into Craig's Creek. From Craig's Creek, it goes into the James River. And from the James, eventually, into the Chesapeake Bay. And just think, the water here that you see here in this video eventually will be in the Chesapeake Bay and in the Atlantic Ocean, over 300 some miles away. And it here is where it starts. It comes out of the ground. Just weird. Interesting to think about.
So at this point behind me is where Tub Run actually flows into Johns Creek. So we have followed this creek from the spring that was smaller than my thumbnail all the way until it grows into a creek and flows into the creek that takes it for the rest of the way. So from beginning to end, there it is. By the way, I know the landowners here and I asked permission before I came to the spot, so no trespassing, never trespass. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. It's kind of cool seeing the whole creek from beginning to end. So once again, thanks for watching.